With that, it's time to get things started with our first panel of the day. So I would ask all of the panelists to come join me on stage right now. It looks like I've got most everyone assembled here. So just turn on your cameras and turn on your microphones so we can get things started. I will remind everyone we are going to reserve the last 5 or 10 minutes of today's panel, of all of our panels, starting with this one, for questions. So as questions come to mind, please enter them into the Q&A box. And as a reminder, the Q&A chat box is the third tab over. And I want to make sure we may have one of our speakers with 2 tabs open. If you have this conference open in 2 tabs, one is a viewer and one is a speaker, that's going to result in feedback. I'm hearing some sort of feedback. So if you guys could make sure you don't have this open in 2 tabs, that would be helpful. Or if you've got Straning's background, let's talk about background, that would be helpful. Again, to ask questions, please just go over to the Q&A chat box, which you can find on the third icon over if you have the chat open, or the third tab down if you have it hidden. You're looking for the icon that looks like 2 chat bubbles. Now, our first panel today is very special, as it featured organizations that have gotten our very highest award level in the Vets Index's Employer Awards 5-star employers. So these are folks who really know what they're talking about. As a reminder, if you think your organization should be among this group, if you think you're among the very best, please participate in our Vets Index's Employer Awards, which can kind of help you see how you stack up with everyone else. That will be launching starting November 4th, less than a month. So now is the perfect time to get involved with that. Again, vetsindexes.com/employer-awards. Now, our first panel today is going to focus on what organizations can do to improve their retention and development of veteran employees. This is something that, for the folks who've worked with me in the past before, you know this is a pet peeve of mine. This is a great personal passion. In my opinion, I think too often in the veteran space, the focus is on recruit, recruit, recruit. Just bring as many veterans as you possibly can into the door. And what happens after we onboard them? I don't know. I think that too often organizations can get kind of single-mindedly focused on bringing them in the door and then don't pay too much attention to what happens next. Bottom line, it's not helping anyone if you're hiring a whole bunch of veterans one day and then another day, 2, 4, 6, 8 months down the line, they're coming right back out that door. So what we're here today to talk about is how companies can prevent that, and also how organizations can develop their veteran employees into more senior level roles where they can make a bigger positive impact for the organization. To discuss all of this today, I am joined by an amazing panel who has a lot of great feedback to offer. I do want to note at the top that one of our originally scheduled panelists, Michael Piper, is not able to join us today. He is at an event in Western North Carolina in support of Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. But his colleague at Lowe's, Rebecca Medlin, has graciously stepped in to take his place. Thank you for jumping in for us on short notice, Rebecca. Our other panelists joining us today are Jack Bechtold, Strategic Segment Lead of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at AT&T, Robert Licata, Director of Service Delivery Management at Prudential, and James Moore, Tax Principal and Co-Chair of the Veterans BRG at KPMG. Welcome, panelists. We have a ton to discuss, so let's dive right into it. First question, I'm going to just throw this out for the full panel. Whoever feels like jumping in first to answer it, please go ahead and just jump in. What is the business case for focusing not just on recruiting, but also development and retention of veteran employees? Robert, I think you're muted. We're not getting your audio.
Thought I went off mute. Sorry about that.
Loud
Can
and
you hear me
clear.
okay now?
Yes, sir.
Good. Apologies. So good morning and thanks for having me, and good morning to all my fellow panelists, and thanks to everyone for their service. And again, thoughts and prayers to everybody who may be impacted by this recent tragedy down in Florida. And speaking for Prudential, I think part of the business case we have is that we recognize that veteran talent is top talent. And to not be able to focus on the retention is really doing the service to Prudential. We look at their intrinsic skills: critical thought, leadership, communication, collaboration, time management, and all these other types of transferable skills that myself as a disabled veteran and all you other veterans out there, or people who've hired veterans, these are things that are
Robert may have just run into an internet connectivity issue. So one of our other panelists, please jump in.
Sure, I can jump in while Robert gets back connected. Thanks. Happy to be a part of it. Robert, we lost you for maybe the last minute and a half. So if you want, to repeat, that'd be great.
I'll let other people about that.
Okay. Well, thanks again, James Moore with KPMG. Excited to be here today. Again, thoughts and prayers to those impacted by their lives to hurricanes. I want to start with just a couple data points from Korn Ferry that suggests that 43% of veterans leave their civilian job within the first year, and 80% by the end of their second year. And from a business perspective, based on a study from Gallup, it shows the cost of replacing an individual employee range from anywhere from half to salary when you factor in recruiting and the lost productivity. Statistics really understand retention and development, right? So while recruiting veterans is important, the real value for business comes from when you harness the skills and perspective that a veteran brings to your organizations. Veterans are trained to lead, collaborate. They're accustomed to performing in high pressure environments. Perspective to the workplace based on their unique background and their military experience. So at KPMG, we don't just focus on getting veterans through the door. Value, supported, and position them to grow into leadership roles. KPMG culture of leadership development is perfectly aligned with the strength that our veterans bring to the table. We also provide a structure, support system, and opportunities necessary for our veterans to transition from the military and to their civilian roles. Understand that veterans are not just your typical employees. They're high potential leaders who can help drive the success of our firm. So our focus on retention and development of our veterans is not about reducing turnover, but it's about unlocking their leadership potentials, improving our team dynamic, fostering inclusivity, which ultimately will lead to and drive success for our firm.
Hey, Jack, we're not hearing you. I think you may still be muted. Still not getting audio. Rebecca, maybe you want to jump in?
Yes, I will jump in. Thank you for having me. Like you said, Mike had to jump last minute to head to North Carolina. and that Tennessee border, as Lowe's supports that disaster. Also, I think for Lowe's, it's really focusing on that transition period, to kind of echo what James said. It's within that first 18 months to 24 months. So really focusing on the not just the recruiting, but the onboarding and the smooth transition to service members as they come into Lowe's. So whether that's through our mentoring program or also through our veteran business resource group, connecting with them so that they have the resources they need. And then also providing the opportunities to get involved. So Lowe's core values align a lot with the military. So I think really aligning our culture with the culture that they're seeking, while also providing those steps necessary to transition into a job within Lowe's. And then I would say Lowe's as a whole, not just for service members, does a really great job of providing opportunities for growth within the business. So looking at opportunities, whether that's through mentorship or even stretch projects for service members to either one, see other areas of the business that they might be interested in, because like any company, we have several business areas so people can move into other positions as well.
Excellent. Do you want to try speaking in? Hopefully your audio is working now. No, sadly, we are still not hearing you. We will try to figure that out on the technical side. And meantime, let me hop on to the next question, which is why this tends to be an acute issue for veterans in particular. Research has shown that especially veterans who recently separated from the military are at an increased risk of non-retention. Talk us through some reasons that you all think this is the case.
So I think just talking to service members as they transition is maybe culture misalignment. So transitioning from the military to civilian culture can be a little jarring sometimes. So making that transition or just finding out what's going to be a good fit for them moving forward. And then also that potential lack of support within companies as they're onboarding or they don't have a whole lot of guidance. And then also job fit, you're picking your next career or your next job. And so ensuring that as you transition and look at potential opportunities, that it's going to align with your career aspirations and your desire for new opportunities. And then also maybe some expectation gaps as well. So just the rapid decision-making, leadership, and responsibilities veterans experience since the military may not translate into civilian roles as quickly as they expected. So, it goes back to that support and onboarding piece, and companies being able to provide that to ensure that success and retention.
I can, Rebecca hit on, there's a 2003 study by Hard Not Heroes that point to two main reasons, one being the cultural adjustment, and the second being veterans reported that they felt that their role was that the unique skills that they were bringing to the table, but or what they developed in their military career led to dissatisfaction in jobs. So was difficult, right? As Rebecca mentioned, the structure, those of us that serve, the communication is totally different. The expectation can be challenging for veterans who are transitioning from military life to a civilian job. So one of the things we've done at KPMG is we implemented what's called our a military assimilation program, and we also have virtual assimilation coaches. And these programs are designed to help veterans, adjust and strive in that new environment. Day one, these programs help veterans leverage their skills while providing the guidance and support they need to into the KPMG culture. So I think it's really important to have a veteran-centric support system so veterans don't feel isolated or underutilized or disconnected, which could lead to early separation. Retention and development is always going to be critical to ensure success, and providing veterans with the right tools to allow them to integrate quicker we have seen within KPMG has definitely helped with our retention of veterans once they transition from military service.
All right.
It's Robert. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Hopefully this works a little better. I moved to a different. I apologize for that. And yeah, just to jump on this question, I think from a prudential perspective, one of the things that we've recognized, and we have formal training processes in place, is it's two-pronged, right? One is we want to help the veteran assimilate, right? That recently separated veteran assimilate into corporate culture, which is probably the first time that they've experienced this type of culture, but also to have their hiring managers and their team members also participate in programs that help them to understand how to best interact and to help those veterans and those recently separated veterans assimilate into the workplace at a much faster pace, understand what their intrinsic core contributions are. Again, we talked about leadership and communication, collaboration, those types of things, and really helping them to leverage those attributes in a way that helps the onboarding process and then ultimately the retention of those veterans at a much improved rate than maybe other industries and other companies who don't have these types of programs. So we've seen some really good results as a result as part of that training. And again, it's not just for the veteran, but it's also for the hiring managers and the teammates to help them understand what those opportunities are and help leverage those qualities so that everybody's successful and they contribute to the team in a much more accelerated manner.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Jack, hopefully we have your audio issues figured out.
It might be working now.
Yes, sir. Hearing you loud and clear. So we missed the first couple questions. Please, I'll remind you the first issue I asked about was kind of what the business case is for focusing on this. And then the second question that we are just wrapping up now is why veterans tend to be kind of more at risk of non-retention. So please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, sorry, I apologize for the audio issues. Of course, you have the AT&T guys saying, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" So not the best way to start off, but I'm here now. So thank you, everybody. I will definitely, everything everybody's been saying so far, I've been able to listen to the conversation that's been going on. And veterans are a huge part of our corporation, our business, and also our customer base. Here, we like to make sure our customer base matches our workforce. That way we have a better understanding of our customers and we have that interconnection. We talk about recruiting talent. I heard a lot about, bringing in military and vets and how to retain them. And a lot of times that they don't stick with the companies or the programs and they have to switch to different companies or they're just not finding what they need. And I heard Robert speak a little bit about this. And it comes with the training. It's not going to be just the initial training. It's going to be what's going to be taking place throughout their career. It just doesn't stop after you're hired. So I think about AT&T and when I started, over a decade ago, I started in the retail organization selling telephones. And this was back when the iPhone was first launched. Now, prior to that, I had worked in retail at least 5 years. So I was very familiar with selling and how to work with customers and everything. And we have a very extensive training program at AT&T, and we still do for all departments, all levels. So at that entry level, it was about 3 weeks worth of training. There was a gentleman that was a recent vet. He just got out of the Army. And I kept thinking to myself, this guy, I don't know what he's getting himself into, but this is because sales for phones are very difficult if you're not aware. I mean, you have to have really good soft skills and be able to work with people. And I kept thinking to myself, you know, how's this guy going to do this? And we were from different parts of Pennsylvania, but we stayed in touch. And what I want to highlight, though, was his dedication. And I heard this before, that you have individuals who are extremely dedicated and disciplined. So a lot of people came to those trainings and had fun, and they worked for other telephone companies. And they said, I don't need this training. I've done this all before. But he took the time to really just hammer down and follow all the practices, take part in all of the, you know, silly role plays that we do. Not everybody likes to do them, but he gave it his best. And long story short is, if you put the tools there for people and the resources and guide them, there'll be great things that come. I looked him up like 5 years later, and he was actually doing better than me within the company, had already progressed, and he's still with the company, and he's able to work with the department that we have, FirstNet, which is for first responders, which completely aligns with his history and his experience. So it's our jobs as employers to bring out those qualities, bring out those skills. We don't know everything that everybody's possible of doing when we hire them, but by continuing to work with people and having those mentorship opportunities, networking opportunities, and soft skill opportunities, you'll be able to see the skills, and they'll be able to transfer them to the corporate world, which in the end is really not that much different. There's a lot of structure in the organization, and we need people who are determined and want to move forward. So that's just a little bit. I don't want to talk too much, but yeah, whoever wants to continue on, go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jack. So we've already started to, you all have thankfully already started answering this next question, but I know it's something that a lot of our audience is very much focused on, and the sort of concrete advice that everyone is hoping to get today. So talk me through a few of the methods, programs, policies that you found to be most effective, most impactful on improving retention among your veteran employees. Robert, I think you're muted again.
I have the honor and privilege of being one of two national coaches, BRG, Business Resource Group, VetNet, along with Charlene Petrozelli, and who I see is on the call. Hi, Charlene. And this is all of our BRGs are really strong proponents of our members, right? And we have a lot of, we focus primarily on our military community, but also are the supporters of our military community, which we often forget about, right? So we focus a lot on our veterans, but also on the background are those veteran supporters, right? The family members, the aunts, the uncles, the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers. And how do we bring them into the fold to make them understand the veteran experience, the recently separated veteran experience, and provide them with the resources to help those veterans out as well. So we have a lot of different trainings. We have regular membership calls. We have leadership programs. We recently implemented a day where any veteran, a disabled veteran, can take a day, because we all know how sometimes frustrating it is to work with the VA, although it's gotten much better over the years. But Prudential gives those veterans a day, an extra PTO day, so that they can go to a VA center. They can handle those responsibilities that come with being part of the VA and the various programs. So they can take a day without taking an additional PTO day or a day off without pay to do those types of things. So we recognize the power of VetNet. We recognize the power of our members and our veteran supporters to help them succeed in corporate, but by helping them to understand their the various programs that we have, ERP programs, We deal very closely with the VA, with hiring our heroes, those types of things, training sessions. We have an annual summit where we have breakout sessions where we have the VA come in and other organizations to help our membership. So I think for me, Prudential, our VetNet BRG is probably one of the strongest mechanisms we have for helping our veterans, but our veteran supporters as well.
Yeah, continuing with the BRG theme, I think for KPMG, this group is vital for our veterans. A great way of sharing information, building community. I serve as the co-chair, along with our chair, Veronica Coffey, and this organization has really been a conduit from an advocate for veterans in the firm. We recently established a BRG podcast series to provide a better way to strengthen our communication and connection amongst our military connected employees. Additionally, recognizing the importance of family, KPMG introduced the Military Spouse Network, which provide critical support to spousal veterans to ensure that they are connected and receive the resources and information that they need. But beyond just building on our, we also have and touch veterans through their entire life cycle, from orientation to onboarding. We have dedicated sessions to provide critical information for them to integrate into the firm and understand the benefits they have in their families. Military assimilation program. We also develop a toolkit that provide veterans with information on transitioning to the firm, and also help accelerate / streamline the onboarding process to help them fully integrate. And throughout, we have mentorship programs and professional development opportunities. And we also, our military leave program and our family support policies to include medical and additional financial benefits to ensure that our military connected employees feel supported throughout their career. And this was really fed through our enhanced self ID program, where we encourage current and new employees to voluntarily share information about their identities, which include their veteran status, which allow us to have a good line of sight into our workforce to ensure that we can provide the right resources. And we also conduct, global and pulse surveys to continuously gain information on what can the firm do better to provide support for our veterans. And one of the things that led to was our military tax benefit program we call Mobilizing Our Heroes, which provides tax services to our veteran employees.
I'll jump in, and I know this is along the lines, but a little outside too. But I think retention and then just building your brand as a whole. So I know James talked about like life cycle, but we also look at it as a life cycle from the military community. So, partnering with organizations like the USO that hits them at that point of entry, but also our Skill Bridge program, which allows service members as they're transitioning a great opportunity to train within the company, whether that's at store locations or at our corporate office, which again helps with that transition and with that retention, but also providing affordable homes and aging in place assistance. So building that community and that brand, I think, attracts talent to us, but also helps us build that into even the support of military spouses and being a military spouse. So support by having a military spouse transfer policy. So, overall providing assistance to the military community helps that when we do bring them on with that onboarding piece and specific help in sharing of the military resources we have, the Veteran Business Resource Group that I know that everybody has kind of touched on, is also a big aspect of our business and how they can get involved. And then I think training and providing a good training program that is just spread by word of mouth, because the military community is big, but it's also very small, and everybody knows everybody. So, making sure that we provide that great experience, so that way it is spread as a great place that they would want to come work. So I think a lot of ours is focused on the onboarding and providing that experience and that transition, so they have a great transition into the civilian workspace. So then they're also sharing that with somebody who would be interested in working in the retail space.
And I could just wrap this one up really quick, because it's all along the same lines. You know what I'm going to say already, and that's our resource groups, and that's where people could find people like themselves, where they'll feel comfortable. We work really hard at AT&T to make our resource groups intersect and work together, and that's something that they absolutely love. I know, James, you talked on this a little bit about people who support the community. So it's not only people that are in those resource groups, but people that support them. You don't have to be a part of AT&T Vets to go to any of their events, any of their programming, which is nice. Not everybody wants to be a part of a group, but they do want to attend some of the events. And I think that's a really big part of our retention, because people who are part of those groups get to work with leadership that may be veterans or a spouse of veterans or family members of veterans, and they offer that guidance and that mentorship for them. And with the resource groups, I mean, some of you maybe even had experiences yourself. I know I personally have had promotions and laterals because of the networking I've done within different resource groups and met people like-minded and that have similar backgrounds. So that, of course, is a really big part of it. The next thing I wanted to touch on was that we constantly have to evolve. I think, Rebecca, you talked a little bit about policies and transfers and moving. And, you think about some of the policies and procedures that were written 20 years ago, and it's not just our veterans and employees, it's people within our company that may need accommodations as well. So we have to continuously look at what the environment is like. And James, I'm going to come back to you again, because you said my favorite thing, it's that self-ID. We need to know who on our team is part of the veteran community. That way we could make our resources more aligned with them. So really highlighting that community, working with them, and adapting policies. Maybe there's some policies that we've had where service animals weren't allowed in certain parts, or accommodations. You have to change those things as time goes on. People don't want to be people who need accommodations or may have had trauma in the past don't necessarily want to just work at home. They want to work in the office. So you need to be able to provide that for them, because we need everybody's input. We can't all be the same person in the room. We need a various amount of information from various amount of different people with all different backgrounds and experiences. And the last thing I'm going to say is highlight those employees. If you have veterans that are doing great work, work with your corporate communications team if you have one. Work with any kind of team you have within your company to amplify those successes and how they made it, where they got. It actually has a really big impact. You'll see other people will see themselves and maybe have had similar trajectories, or they know people that are in the same path. So highlight the success of those individuals.
All really great information. I want to, for all of the attendees, just give a reminder to please, as you're thinking of questions, enter them into chat. I see a bunch of folks have already started doing so. Heads up that we are about to very soon open up the panel to questions we're getting in the chat. So this is the time to do it. Before we do that, though, there's one issue we haven't really touched on much that I definitely want to make sure doesn't get forgotten, which is the other side of retention and development. It's not just about keeping veteran employees, employed at your organization, but also a larger question of, are they actually developing their careers at your organization such that, it is helpful to your organization as you have, kind of better senior leaders, and also helpful for their own career development. So please do me a favor, panelists, and talk about some of the ways that you help to try to develop your veteran employees into more senior leaders in the organization.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. So at Prudential, there's a number of different ways. We have mentoring programs where we pair mentors with mentees, senior leaders within the organization that help, and we do about 2 of them a year. They last about 6 months, and we help those mentees. We pair them with the mentors so that we help them to develop their identify their paths, their journeys within Prudential, whether it be technical skills, business acumen, also helping them understand the landscape of Prudential better. The other path we also see a lot of success in is becoming more active in the VetNet BRG through leadership, being part of the leadership teams. It doesn't have to be part of the central leadership team. It could be part of a regional leadership team where we have different regions within the United States that we also work very closely, and also they're much more boots on the ground in terms of community outreach as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities we have for our veterans and members of VetNet to get the visibility to the senior and executive leadership teams. When I first started at Prudential 9 years ago, I wasn't part of anything, and the opportunity came up to be part of to lead the site here in Connecticut for VetNet, and I jumped right on it. And over just a 2 or 3 year period, I was given the opportunity to be part of the leadership team at VetNet leadership team, and have had, just by virtue of those opportunities, have really for myself had interactions at the executive leadership level that your average person wouldn't have. So there are definitely ways to do it, and I think the BRGs, as everybody's mentioned, are probably, my opinion, probably one of the more powerful ways to get people elevated to those types of opportunities.
Been really quick. Once again, did all the things that Robert said. I think investing in your people is one of the most important thing you can do. Developing is a huge part. You don't want anyone to remain stagnant in their role. Even if they have the same role, you want them to continue to evolve and learn new aspects of that role. Something that we do is tuition reimbursements, certificate reimbursements. So a lot of people with continuing education interest, that's a great opportunity there. Just coming into the work field, I think at the entry level, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of opportunities, once again, through the employee group, seeing what other people do. We definitely encourage mentoring. We have our mentoring programs. We have officers who just do their own mentoring. But it's really important to make sure that we continue to develop and learn new skills. And that might not just be in the job that they have. So something else that we like to do is job shadowing opportunities. Even if it's something that you've never done before or ever even thought of doing, to partner up with other people in different parts of the business to job shadow, give you time to network and see if this is something that you're interested in. Maybe even take on some tasks. Another cool system, this is of course for the whole company, but this definitely benefits people wanting to be developed, is we have something called the Opportunity Marketplace. And think of it like a Craigslist for learning. So if I needed help with the project, I could go and put an ad in there and say, I need help with the project for 3 weeks. Who's interested in Microsoft project and learning project management skills? Yada, blah, 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 blah. And someone could respond and help with that. Or someone could also put in there, I'm looking to be part of the engineer team and work in engineering. Is there anybody that would like to let me shadow them for a few weeks? So continuing to provide opportunities for people, not just by talking about them, but actually having these tools and resources in place, such as the tuition reimbursement, is really going to drive that development for your employees.
Yeah, I can work very closely with our talent acquisition team so that we're bringing veterans in at the right level, positioning them in roles that leverage not only their MOS, but the intangible leadership skills that they bring so they can strive in the firm. We also have our virtual relation internship program where veterans can sign up for a 1-hour session each month with leaders within the firm to learn more about opportunities for growth. We also have a Veterans Development Day where we offer workshop use primarily for those who are transitioning, also give them a line of sight into how to navigate a firm the size of. Again, we also have virtual career fairs. This is not their spouses where they can have one-on-one sessions with the KPMG recruiters, professionals, seasoned professionals in the firm, and also our benefit representatives on one-on-one to discuss, interact with them on, and learn firsthand about a career and opportunities for growth and leadership roles. And we're involved in Hiring Our Heroes, the corporate fellowship program, which is a 12-week fellowship for transition and service members that offers professional training, hands-on experience. And we do have a number of those individuals that transition from the fellowship program to actual employees here at the firm. And our national military mentorship programs, both internal and external mentoring opportunities for our veterans. So those are some of the things we do. I'm sure I'm probably not missing something, but things that come to mind that we're doing to kind of position our veterans to be prepared for leadership roles in the firm.
And I'll jump in very quickly. I would say Lowe's overall as a company does this really internal growth as a whole, not just for veterans, but we sit at 80% internal growth into leadership positions. So, really focusing on not just veterans, but employees overall, providing, whether that's the opportunity to look at other positions available or do some stretch projects. And then also that internal networking as well. So like a lot of them have talked about that vet BRG. And then also just reaching out. That's one thing I love about Lowe's is being able to reach out to other business partners, asking a question, and they're always open to answering your questions to help you grow your career within Lowe's.
Excellent. Really great conversation here. Time when you're having fun. We only have 3 minutes left in the panel. So we'll move on to audience questions. We're unfortunately not going to be able to take all of them. I do want to address just very quickly a question that I saw that I can answer pretty quickly. Someone asked about improving veteran employee self-ID. That's something that is a constant challenge for all organizations. Such a big challenge, in fact, that we actually dedicated a whole previous panel from one of our other conferences to that topic. So I just put into chat the link that will take you to our fall 2022 conference videos. Please don't watch it right now. Please keep watching this conference, but afterwards, I definitely would recommend watching the employee self-ID, the vet employee self-ID panel, which has a lot of great advice on improving your self-ID among veteran employees. Being that we only have a couple minutes left, I'm going to kind of combine several different questions that we got into kind of one big catch-all question for each of the panelists to jump into. And that is, what, other than the veteran employee and business resource groups, which I think we've talked about a lot, what are some of the other most effective tools in your toolkit that help with development and retention? Some folks asked about mentoring programs in particular, which I've seen make a difference, but talk us through some of those particular mentoring and other programs. Please feel free to jump in, anybody.
Our relation toolkit, which is pretty detailed guide of all the benefits offered through KPMG, but also it's focused primarily on military connected employees, either veterans or their spouses. It gives an easily way to that a veteran may have when they enter the firm, but also just the contact of individuals that they can reach out to help them answer questions quickly. Given the size of an organization like KPMG, you can kind of get lost in just trying to find the right person. But local BRG chapters, which provide that direct connection at the local level and be able to feed information down to the veterans or their spouses. Again, I think the key thing we leverage a lot is our pulse surveys, where we push out information and ask our veteran population, what are we missing? Are there things that we could be doing better to, one, help you succeed in the organization? I think for us, that has been the most helpful tool at getting information in real time, and then being able to, as the BRG, advocate on behalf of the veterans services that they're requesting.
Short answer, employee groups, work with them. Local chapters, national, within the groups, there's all different levels of people throughout the company. They will point you in the right direction. Like Rebecca said, something that's great about AT&T as well, you could pick up the phone or email anybody and they will help you out.
Excellent. Rebecca, you want to jump in with last word?
No, I mean, they echoed a lot of what I would say. So I don't think I have anything else to add.
Excellent. Well, we're at time anyway, so all works out for the best. Thank you so much to all of our panelists. Did a great job. I think this is a very important issue. I'm glad we're shedding light on it. So thank you so much. We have had an absolutely jam-packed start to the day, and it is now time for our first break. So everyone, please take a few minutes to get up, stretch your legs, get a bite to eat. We welcome you to join our lounge, which is a virtual networking space where you all can kind of talk with your fellow attendees. To access this, click the Lounges tab on the left side of your screen, and then select the Morning Lounge. You can also take a minute to visit our virtual exhibit booths. You'll find those by clicking the Expo tab on the left side of the screen. Our conference agenda is going to continue in just less than 20 minutes, 12:50 p.m. Eastern Time, with a pair of breakout sessions. To join one of these breakouts, just click the Breakout Sessions tab again on the left side of your screen. Thank you all very much, and we will see you soon.